Hey guys, happy Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, August 13th, I believe, 2019. I am really excited and honored to have my friends Eric Rollins and Jennifer Foster on the show today to talk about something that is really serious. I was floored when I heard what was going on in our beautiful Orange County. We'll get more to that, but let us know you can hear us and see us. Always my biggest thing. Hey, Michael, give us a thumbs up or a heart. Let us know you can hear us and see us because this is super important. Christine Cabrera, hello. All right, we got a heart. Hey, Bill Moore, we got a thumbs up. I'm floored by this topic, but I want to get thank you, Sammy. I want to get a little bit about you, and then we will talk about Convert to Love, the event that's coming up this Thursday at Stonewall here in Orlando, and we'll talk about conversion therapy. I have to put therapy in quotations when I say it out loud. But you know, the audience may not have seen your previous shows, so give them a little bit of information about you and the organizations that you work with. We'll start with Eric Rollins.
You want to go? Okay. My name is Eric Rollins, and I'm the former chair of the Soil and Water Conservation District, been politically active and of course active in the LGBTQ community for quite a few years. I've been here for 30 years, and some of the things that we've passed, we thought we kind of covered some of the things, and this is one of the things that we didn't cover and that needs to be dealt with right away.
And then Jennifer Foster from One Orlando Alliance.
Hi everyone, I'm Executive Director of One Orlando Alliance, and we're a coalition of 35 member organizations now that came together after the Pulse tragedy to make sure that our LGBTQ plus community is safe and inclusive, and that we're really working on some of the big challenges that we have here and just making sure that it's a better, more inclusive community for us all to live in.
All right, so I'll tell you the little history of my reckoning on this topic. When I started to see things, conversion therapy, I knew enough to be dangerous, but I was telling Jennifer and Eric that I think a lot of the audience may not even know what that means. Once you hear the description, I hope you are as aghast and disgusted and, oh my God, you just can't believe this is happening in 2019 as I am personally. And so I thought it was important for us to give them a little bit of an education. Then we will talk about what's going on in Orange County and talk about why we are really up in arms and we want to make some changes. So what is conversion therapy?
Yeah, so conversion therapy very simply is therapy that's designed to change people's either sexual orientation or gender identity. So it's basically saying if you identify as LGBTQ, that's bad and we want to change that. And there's actual therapists out there that are performing that all around the country, and certainly here in Orange County. And it's something that as a community we've been focused on and decided we needed to eliminate that here locally. There's been statewide efforts to ban conversion therapy. It's been banned in 21 cities in 21 cities and counties already in Florida, but it still does exist here in Orange County. And until we can get rid of this on a statewide level, we have to start local. And so we had the opportunity to really focus on Orange County and do some research. We brought in Equality Florida, Zebra Coalition, Orlando Youth Alliance, the Trevor Project, which is a national organization, and as well as some faith leaders and some mental health professionals to really sit down and say, what is the issue? Does it exist here? We thought we knew it did, and certainly we're confirmed. And said, okay, do we have an opportunity now to ban that here? And so this great coalition has come together to just eliminate it.
And so what is so there are licensed therapists. Mm-hmm. There's also programs, right? So if you've ever watched any kind of TV, you might have seen some of this. I have watched it before. What happens? So the therapist will take somebody who is their gender identity and their LGBTQ, whatever they are identifying as, and they're trying to convert them out of it.
Right. They're trying to make them straight. I think back in the day, a lot of times people used to hear "pray the gay away." That really was kind of a tagline for that. It's still happening here in Orange County, and what we were really looking at is identifying people that have been through that and being part of this coalition. But I think that when you look at some of the survivors, that we've talked to, they're still reckoning with this and their identity years after, decades after that their quote unquote therapy has been completed, that they're still damaged from it. And we want it with this ban that we're working on is for minors, so it's to protect the minors. And not like you were saying that there's that sometimes they call them farms or camps where the children are dropped off for long periods of time, and they're either given medication or that they're are told that they're worthless. And over and over and over again, they're just pounded in, and it's really
there's a
conversion
pill
therapy.
to make you not LGBTQ
Well,
now.
no.
This is
No.
the part that makes me
No.
crazy as an intelligent human being. I don't understand how you can't read every single study known to man that I know about, where this is not a choice. I mean, there are so many things. It's so frustrating. So I was promoting a little bit, talking about this show last week, and I had 2 survivors come up to me, and I like that word because in my opinion, from what I have heard from them, and I have read about, that survivor is a perfect word to describe those people who have gone through it. And they are still, like you were saying, they're an emotional, they still have issues to deal with. Now, what we talked about earlier before the show, now they have what I would consider real therapy to try to get past the conversion therapy that they were subjected to as minors. And I guess that's really the part. So if you're an adult and you go off and you do what you got to do, all right, so I want to protect, time to ban this therapy, yes, Joe Lopez. I want to protect those kids. It is, from everything that I've read, it just appears to be so combative and against everything that science and nature tell us makes sense. And yet we are subjecting to the kids. And the fact that our county, and you know how much I love our LGBTQ community, and we're all loving and kind, the fact that our county has not banned this therapy makes me crazy.
Well, and we did have, I'm sorry, we did have a meeting with Mayor Demings, and we have contacted all the other county commissioners. We've had positive feedback so far.
I love it.
We really hope that we can move this forward. A lot of times when Jennifer was just talking about the statewide ban, that would be great. That would be perfect. We wouldn't have to go county by county, city by city. But as most people know, that we're constantly being preempted, or that those bills are introduced, and a bill was just introduced last Friday in the Florida House to ban this. But every time, year after year, this comes up, and the bills the language is great. We have bipartisan support, but the leadership never puts it up to a committee, to a vote, to put it on the floor to where we can protect children all across the
What's
state.
their hesitation? So we were talking a little bit before the show. There's got to be something that's the hesitation. It's not just lobbyists and money. It's got to be some liability. What are the hesitations in saying we should ban this across the board? What is the state? What are the state issues? Because I think that's what people would want to know. Like, all right, so why are they so against it?
I mean, it really comes down to religious extremists. I mean, that's where the pressure comes from on this particular issue, which is a very, very small minority. But as we know, on a lot of things, those extremists on any side of any issue can be really loud.
Right.
And so that's what it comes down to. I want to give a shout out to Stephanie Preston Hughes, who just chimed in and said hello.
Hi, Stephanie.
She is one of the mental health professionals that has come on board to help us with this. And in her practice, she sees a lot of LGBTQ youth, and many of which have gone through conversion therapy and have had to, struggle with that. And many adults that went through conversion therapy. You mentioned 2 people came out to you and shared that they went through conversion therapy. The same's happening with Eric and I. People are coming to us and saying, "Thank you for bringing this up, because it's something that I've buried so deeply for so many years. I went through it as a kid. I really struggled." We know that highly rejected youth are 8 times more likely to attempt suicide than youth that are affirmed and accepted for who they are. And so these are real issues that are affecting the youth of our community. And there's this conversion therapy has been debunked by every legitimate mental health association.
on.
So the American Academy of Child Adolescent Psychiatry, the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Counseling Association, the American Psychiatric Association, they've all debunked this. They all say it doesn't work. They've all said it's dangerous. We shouldn't be doing it. And yet there are mental health professionals in our community that are still doing it. Here in Orange County, and particularly in the city of Orlando, we've really made a commitment towards being a safe and inclusive community for everyone, and that absolutely includes our LGBTQ community, and we must protect our youth, especially the most vulnerable of our LGBTQ community. So that's what this really is about.
So it's fascinating to me, and I do want to say that I knew that our county people would come on board. If they're anything like me, and maybe they would know, I didn't even know it was still legit and legal. And I think that's what a lot of people will listen to this and go, I can't believe that that's actually legal. How can that be how can we not have a ban on that? And so I know that our community is overall is incredibly supportive. And we need to be, because what we're doing is we're impacting not just our youth, but our entire community in general. And so if you're into some sort of forced therapy that's going to, I don't want to use those words, that's going to take the gay out of you or take the identity out of you, you are just barking up the wrong tree. And I would imagine that the majority of the people, the intelligent, loving, kind human beings who are watching the show and will watch later, would agree with us.
Absolutely.
And you look at the kids going back to school yesterday, and I've got a bunch of friends that have kids, 2, 3, or 4 kids, and they're under so much stress going back. And they're worried about their authentic selves just on the way that they are. And can you imagine piling layer upon layer upon layer of this additional stress that they don't need? These kids need to be built up. They need to feel like they need to be their authentic selves and achieve their goals and not be hindered by something that's going to take years. If the one friend that I was talking to yesterday, and Jen and I, what we've been really shocked with, how many friends that we've known for years that have gone through this that have never mentioned it. Exactly. And it is shocking. But we're gonna on Thursday, this Thursday, August 15th at Stonewall Bar. From 5:30 to 8:30, we're gonna 8 to 5:30 to 8:30. We're gonna have a rally, a kind of an educational evening, if you will, with a brief, about a half hour, 35-40 minutes program starting at 7 to introduce people to what we're doing, ways that they can help. We're going to have people from Trevor Project that are flying down from DC, awesome. Equality Florida. We've got it's an amazing amount of support, and I think that the possibility of this passing is very good. The thing is that we need to pass it before the legislative session starts, and it starts early this year.
So how does that work? Let's talk about the specifics of that, because you have the event. What's the next step? What is the next step for the county? What do they have to do, or what do we have to do to encourage them and support what we're trying to do to get it banned?
We're trying to get this on the agenda for the September 10th meeting. Gotcha. So that's going to be our big step. Right now, we've got the petition that was out 2 weeks ago. We're up to, when I just looked in, it was almost 4,300. It would be great by Thursday if people could go and sign on to the petition. It's converttolove.org, and it's spelled out. And we've got 4,300 signatures right now.
So I believe that I feel like everyone's on board. Are you expecting any kind of pushback on September 10th? Are you expecting any kind of, and then how do we, as citizens that want to see this banned, help you circumvent that?
I mean, it's hard to predict whether we're going to see any pushback, right? We have had events where people have stood outside with signs protesting events at the center, and the Pride Prom that we put on for LGBTQ youth. So there are some people that come out, but again, it's a very, very limited number of extremists. For the majority of people that we talk to about this issue are very supportive, and to your point, very surprised that it's even happening in a place like Orange County. So the best thing that we can do is for teachers, therapists, neighbors, friends, whoever's writing this, Christine, you're exactly right, family, colleagues, everyone should feel empowered to share the message and just talk about it. If we shine some light on this, if we say it's happening here, enough people will recognize that it's not right and that we need to fix it. And so those conversations can lead to sending emails to the commissioners or sending an email to Mayor Demings and really just sharing your opinion on this and your support of having a ban put in place. It's as simple as that, right? And signing the petition is a very easy way to lend your voice to this cause. In just a couple of weeks, we have 4,500, almost 4,500 signatures. So that
that's
shows that
awesome.
people really are, really care about this and don't think that it's right.
Well, they don't
that
know.
They can contribute to it.
When you see Convert to Love, or you see conversion therapy, you if you're not in it, like we were talking earlier, if you're not in the bubble that the three of us exist in our city, then you don't necessarily know about it. You may be a supporter, don't know. You may be aghast, like I was, to even hear that that's on the books, or that the ban is not on the books. And so you don't know what you don't know, and that's why this awareness, the kickoff on Thursday, is so critical. If you're like the rest of us, the majority of us, who feel like this should have been on the books, off the books, whatever we're going to call it, off the books from that, being able to do it, but on the books is a ban. We want you guys to come out. We want you to support what they're doing on Thursday.
And it doesn't cost anything. This is a free event. It's not a fundraiser. It's an educational event, and to really empower people that may have gone through conversion therapy, this would be a perfect time to talk to some of the leaders and all these great organizations and be a part of the change that we really need to see here.
And so I want to ask, services available to those who have been through conversion therapy that want help, that might hear this, might see the show, might hear about what you're doing. Maybe they can't make the event, and maybe they're still dealing with the issues like we talked about. They haven't gone through therapy to take care of the conversion therapy. What services or what opportunities are there for them in the community to try to get some help for that?
Sure. So for our youth, we have Zebra Coalition and Orlando Youth Alliance, which are great organizations
Amazing.
for anyone to reach out to. Certainly Equality Florida. We have the Legal Aid Society if someone needs legal support. They can reach out to us at One Orlando Alliance. There are a lot of resources in the community. If you need mental health support, we can help with that also. We can help provide safe, affirming therapists that are available to speak. We understand that this is really triggering for a lot of people. We're talking about something that many people have buried for decades in their life. So we have youth that are going through it, especially now that we have youth that are so gender fluid and really kind of just exploring their own gender fluidity or their gender identity. Some of those are not welcomed by their families, and that causes some real problems. So we want people to reach out to us. We'll help point you in the right direction. This overflows into other issues in our community. It's one of the reasons that One Orlando Alliance has taken this on as such a top initiative, is because people that are rejected from their home, youth that are rejected from their home, are more likely to experience homelessness. They're more likely to fall into addiction. They're more likely to have suicidal ideations. This is not just something that people go to a therapist and then it doesn't affect them throughout their lives. When they discover that they are highly rejected by their families and that they're told that they should change who they are at the core of them, that really affects people's psyches in a really deep way.
How do you come back from that? That's the difficulty.
It takes a long time,
Well,
and some people never
don't.
do.
Yeah,
Some people
you
never
see
do.
increased. They start falling into a trap where if they were sent away, and there's a perfect example when I was passing out invitations, a person that's transgender that transitioned from a woman to a man, or I should say from a girl to a boy, very young. 15 years old, was told that at that time he was going to a camp, and so for the first 4 days he was playing with other kids and that it was a great time, and then they started isolating them off and then talking to them and asking really personal questions in a room, and they escaped and they went back home. They hitchhiked. So at 15,
Wow.
right there as a girl, alone, hitchhiking to get back home, right there is the first way where that could go really, really bad. And so then she went home, and they said, no, you need to go back, and she wouldn't go back, and she ended up at Zebra Coalition and has now transgendered and it is transition. I'm sorry, and is a viable, wonderful part of the community, is an entertainer, and is just really, really grounded. But so many times then that could go a different way. It could go into, what if that were 5 years earlier, when Zebra Coalition wasn't around?
Right.
If we didn't have those options, then then you're homeless, now you're hungry. How hungry do you have to get before you start committing crimes, before you get into prostitution, before you get into all these different things? And then you know how that circles back. And it's so hard once you get into that form of addiction or that homelessness circle. It's really hard to get back out of that. So if we can prevent it, if we could ban this and just get, let's say, one person from a suicide attempt, one person to be their authentic self and reach their goals, to finish school and do the things that they wanted to do, this will all be worth it.
I love it.
We have some people that are going to be at the event on Thursday who were very involved with conversion therapy, who have have really found their authentic selves and have come
That's
full circle
awesome.
on this issue, and now are speaking out around conversion therapy, and so they'll be there on Thursday. So this isn't something that we have to be hard and fast on. We can all evolve as human beings. We can all open our minds up, regardless of how you feel, what your personal opinion of it is about people's sexual orientation or their gender identity. The repression of anyone for who they are is not right.
They're
That's
human
not any of us
beings,
to judge.
people. I love
So,
that, Jen. That's
yeah,
awesome.
So we can all evolve on this, and we can all recognize that putting youth in danger is not something that anyone in Orange County wants to do. So that's what this ordinance is about, and we feel like there's going to be a lot of support.
We're gonna
and
do it.
We're going to do it, and I'm so happy to see all the nice comments that are coming.
Great
in support.
comments.
So thank you all.
We
for
love
that.
you guys for that.
We absolutely
All right,
do.
so Thursday, August 15th, 5 o'clock?
5:30
5:30
to
at
8:30.
Stonewall, which is right, I can almost see it from here. Stonewall's downtown.
On Church
It
Street.
doesn't cost any money for you to go. If you want to learn more, you want to be a proponent, which I encourage you to be, to do this ban, to get rid of conversion therapy in Orange County. You want to come out, you want to learn more, and you want to help them. I love that you talked about the youth. Nobody wants to repress. We don't want our youth to be at risk regardless of what the issues are. And even if you're not a big proponent at this point, if you learn a little bit more, I'm almost sure you're going to want to be a proponent. All right, so we're going to share all that contact information after the show. We'll share how you can sign the petition, how you can attend the event, how you can reach out to Jen and Eric if you have anything, or reach out to me. That's the other thing. Every day we talk about this. Even if I'm not the expert like these two are, if you need something, I want you to reach out, because I'd rather you reach out than sit there and wonder, how do I get in contact with people? All right, so mentorship, which so many of these youth, I am sure, have once they escape that and they get into Zebra Coalition and the other programs that we have. I always like to ask the guests, somebody who mentored them, somebody who was important to them, because we have to get more involved in our youth and our young adults so that we can mentor them in the right way. So I'll start with Eric.
Okay. When I grew up in Michigan, I helped Vicki Riley, rest her soul, run for state representative, and I think I was 14, and she called me her campaign manager, and she taught me so much about how to deal with people. But we were sitting in a donut shop, and before I knew, she knew, and she said, going forward in your life, you're going to have people that are going to want to challenge you and tell you that you're not as good as them. She goes, you never believe them, always believe that you're the best possible person. And I loved her for that. It took me till I came out to figure out why she really said that. And then it was like a light bulb. And she taught me so many different things along the way, not just that comment, but for 2 or 3 years. And I'll always remember her for that.
I love that. All right, how about you, Jen?
Well, I've had a lot of really great professional mentors over my life, but I think the person that is the most significant to me is my grandmother. And sometimes we overlook our family members as being mentors, but from an extremely young age, she always empowered me. She always told me I was perfect just the way I was, and that regardless of what was going on in my life, that everything would always get better, and that I should never kind of sell out to any beliefs that weren't true to me. And she really was that guiding force in my life to let me know that it was okay. And she was the first person that I publicly came out to. and she was so warm and so embracing, and she had a lot of questions, which was wonderful.
Sure.
As anyone who loves you should and would.
Right.
But she really was the person in my life who provided that that sense of hope and stability and confidence.
I love that. Thank you guys for sharing that, because I think it's so important. You got to say it out loud. Today's Gratitude Tuesday, but you got to talk about your mentors. You got to talk about these people, and you have to be one. I encourage you to be one for someone else, because we've all had the impact on our lives. Look, I was just listening to their stories and getting choked up because it means so much. It changes the trajectory. You remember this stuff for the rest of your life. So be a mentor. Thank you, Jen, and thank you, Eric, for being on the show. Again, we're going to share the link, sign the petition, converttolove.org, converttolove.org, all written out, and then the events at Stonewall, and we'll share the link again. Thank you guys for what you're doing in our community. Oh my God, I love you guys so much. They're the best.
Thank you for having us on, and congratulations on all of your success and your recent milestone. We're so grateful.
Gotta get more messages. Thank you. Gotta get more messages out about what these wonderful people and all of you are doing positive in our community, and that's what the TED Show is all about. All right, thank you guys. Go out and support them, sign the petition, and go to the event on Thursday. We love you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you back
Bye.
soon.